G'day guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be doing my tips for round 21 of the season as we have a bit of a look back to round 20 and across the competition, well, my competition, average just under 7 and I managed to scrape in an 8, close to a 9. Brisbane let me down. Gold Coast did not let people down, they got 9 and we got Macca and Zaki up the top of the table with Go Pies pretty close as well. So, yeah, it's all happening at the top. Absolutely sweating bullets, I'm sure. The pressure gets ramped up this time of the season. So, yeah, 8, I'll take that. And we'll get stuck into round 21. All right, let's start us off. Thursday night football. We've got the Western Bulldogs up against the Giants. The Doggies had a big win over the Bombers, second big win. They've had 90-plus points, and the Giants are just absolutely in cruise control at the moment. A big win over the Swans, I think it was about 44 points in the end, after they looked like they were in a little bit of strife. But they're probably one of the best teams at adapting mid-game, I reckon, when it's not going their way. Doggies haven't been great against top 8 sides, or top 8, top 9, however you like to look at it. I'm going to go the Western Bulldogs, though. I feel like the Giants have a couple of outs from what I've seen, possibly 3 outs. They also defeated the Giants earlier on in the season at their home ground. We know the Dogs love it under the lid, so yeah, I think it's going to be very close. I'm going to go the Dogs by 9 points. But yeah, again, the Giants are just in such rich vein of form that yeah, they can almost beat anyone, anywhere at the moment. They're the July champions, that's for sure. They'll be hoping to be the September champions this season, though. We then move our attention to Friday night, and we've got Adelaide hosting the Hawks. Adelaide had a massive win, possibly the biggest win in showdown history, 98-point winners over Port Adelaide. Then, if we have a look at the Hawks, they had, I think it was about 26 points in the end, 24 points. Win over the Blues at the MCG in Sam Doherty's final game of football. And Jacob Wedding's 200th. Have to go to the Crows. They're at home. The Hawks have given them, some troubles in the past at Adelaide Oval. I would say that was when Adelaide probably weren't the top 2, top 4 side that they are currently producing. So, yeah, the Hawks play Adelaide Oval reasonably okay. Outside of a couple of recent ones against Port Adelaide, they have troubled Adelaide there in the past. Because I know, because I've tipped Adelaide to win their home team, and then Hawthorn just pull off a miraculous win. Then we go over to the Saturday games. We've got Melbourne starting us off against West Coast. Melbourne lost the unlosable, really. I mean, biggest ever three-quarter time margin was eclipsed. 46 points, and the Saints got them. The Eagles went down to the Dockers in the Derby over there. Had a good crack, but yeah, the Dockers were too strong. Surely Melbourne get the job done, even though it's at Marvel. They might have a bit of a Marvel curse at the moment, but yeah, Eagles aren't beating anyone at the moment with the way they're going. Then we go over to People First Stadium, Gold Coast up against Richmond. Gold Coast, massive win over the Lions, 11-goal winners. And the Tigers had won their last 2 before they went down to the Pies in, yeah, pretty tough game. And, yeah, they've got a pretty tough assignment here up against the Suns. I still remember, I think it was Dimmer's first game and absolutely blew the Tigers apart. So, yeah, they'll win very comfortably, I would have thought. It could be 100-plus points. They're very, very deadly at home, that's for sure. Now we go over to the SCG, Sydney and Essendon. The Swans went down to the Giants. They were looking good, 28-point leaders. I think they were up by 5 goals at one stage. It's about a 74-point turnaround. That's how good the Giants are going. And then the Bombers, yeah, as we mentioned off the top, they went down in a big way. I think it was about 93, 94 points to the tune against the Dogs. They played in some pretty close games in games gone past. I don't see that being close this time, just considering the Bombers' injury list and the Swans on the rise at their home deck. They should be getting the win. Then we go to a big clash Saturday night, 2023 Grand Final revisited. Collingwood up against the Brisbane Lions. the Pies had a comfortable enough win over the Tigers, and the Lions have been in pretty good winning form, although they got a whack between the nose, or whack between the eyes rather, from the Suns. So yeah, they'll be licking their wounds, and no doubt they'll respond pretty quickly. They were very close to getting the Pies to the MCG last year outside of a classic Collingwood comeback in the last 5 minutes when they were down by 17, 18 points, the Pies. I'm going to go the Lions. They tend to not lose 2 in a row to a team in a season very often, kind of like a dimmer model there. And yeah, a bit of an upset, I think, from my perspective. I think, yeah, both sides pretty evenly matched. Brisbane don't fear the MCG. They'll be seething off after their loss to the Suns, and I think they'll take it all out on the Pies, who have been okay without being in terrific form of late. They lost a couple, but that's what happens when you're sitting pretty on top. So yeah, the Pies will definitely give it a good. Yeah, they'll throw the kitchen sink at them. I just think the Lions, purely from a response perspective, will get the job done, and trying to get back up in the tipping competition as well. A few reasons. Sunday games, let's have a look. So we've got St Kilda up against North Melbourne. This one will be at Marvel Stadium. The Saints, the great escape, 46 points down, three-quarter time. The biggest ever three-quarter time margin comeback of all time. Down in the history books, an amazing win with Melbourne completely falling apart in the final term. But kudos for the Saints on getting the job done there. Naz is an absolute gun, absolute jet. Then we go over to North Melbourne, and they had an ugly night against the Cats, 101-point loss to the tune of the Cats, and Jeremy Cameron, I think, won by about 3 goals. So, yeah, he had a pretty big night at the office. Going to go the Saints. The better side, travelling well, all considering. I think they've had a tough run, but they've played some pretty tough sides and been competitive in amongst all of that. Last couple of games of the round, we've got Geelong hosting Port Adelaide at GMHBA Stadium. Geelong had, as we mentioned, 100-plus point win over the North Melbourne Kangaroos. And then Port Adelaide, they got absolutely blown off the park by Adelaide. And Geelong blew Port Adelaide off the park earlier in the season at Adelaide Oval. It's about 76 points, and then it was 84 points at Port's home ground in the qualifying final in 2024. So to say they've got recent good form is an understatement. Port did get Geelong by a goal last year, but that's because they started out the first term like absolute crazy maniacs and won for the first time since 2007. In Geelong pretty comfortably, 8 goals plus. Then we go to the final game of the round. We've got Fremantle hosting Carlton. This one will be at Optus Stadium. Freo did what they had to do over the Eagles, and Carlton, they unfortunately went down to the Hawks in Sam Docherty's final game for the Blues. And what a champion he's been for the footy club and overcome all sorts of adversity. Jacob Wiedering, congratulations on game 200 as well. Carlton have been sneaky good, beating Fremantle at Optus Stadium in the past, but again, I'd put that down to Carlton are not as good now as what they were then, and Freo are better now than what they were when Carlton were beating them at home. So, based on Docker's form, I think they won 9 of the last 10 or something like that. They're at home. Carlton are travelling well. Have to go the Dockers. I'll probably tip the burger over the sub too. Cool, let's have a look at the games I've picked for this weekend. So I've gone the Western Bulldogs by 9 points in a bit of a 50-50 game, really. Then we've got Adelaide, Melbourne, Gold Coast, Sydney, Brisbane, in a bit of an upset as well. St Kilda, Geelong, Fremantle, favourites to get the job done on the Sunday. Lovely. All right, that's all from me, folks. I hope you enjoyed. Comment who you think is going to win over the weekend. Any upsets that you've got in mind as well. Always intrigued to see what it looks like from your side of things. Give the video a like as well and subscribe so you can see how I'm going each and every week. Only a few home and away rounds to go and then some finals, so get excited. Get excited for that. Thanks heaps for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Have a good one, and I will catch you guys on the next video.